The real reason talented musicians stay small has nothing to do with how well they play their instruments. I know some people who are monsters on their instruments, yet they're only known locally. They play local gigs, they play in local bands. And the truth is, the difference between musicians that can really grow a following and get out there and be national and people who are stuck small and local is that the musicians who are local don't believe they're actually the main character to their story. If you're playing small, if you're stuck playing local gigs, ask yourself, when somebody asks you for a gig, are you just saying yes to it because you're coming from like a scarcity mindset? You're afraid of not being able to make the money? Or you think that like, oh, I have to please them because this is a gig that's important to them? Or are you like, no, my life is important. What do I need first? What should I do? Does this serve my greater goal? Yes or no? Real talk, this morning I got a text for a gig. This guy this Thursday wanted me to play a concert at a school, and it was going to be a 2-hour rehearsal and a 1-hour concert on 2 separate days. And I looked, and it was 30 minutes away from my house, and he was paying $200. So it was pretty obviously like a no for me. Like an older version of me would be like, oh, I need the money. I need a gig. What am I going to do with my time? But I looked at it. It's like, wow, 30-minute drive, going there twice. That's 2 hours of driving, plus 2 hours of rehearsal, plus the hour concert. So we're already at 5 hours there, plus add at least another hour because I have to get there a half hour early. Let's say add another 90 minutes. We're looking at 6 to 7 hours to make $200. Doing someone else's gig, not building a fan base, not actually being the main character of my own story. And just for $200, like I don't even know what the hourly rate is in that, but it's pathetic. The truth is, when I started to flip to believing I was the main character, to being willing to say no to gigs I didn't want to do, even if it upset people, it shifted. And all of a sudden I opened the door to join Sneezy, to become a nationally touring musician, to have fans all around the country. You're playing small. You don't believe you're the main character. You say yes to gigs you don't want to do. You also are afraid to like really put yourself out there and share your story and post content. So many of these local musicians I know, you might be one of these. You are afraid of being cringe online. You're afraid of sharing a piece of yourself that people might not like, so you don't do it. And then you're stuck playing local gigs. But the truth is like, there are millions of people who want to hear your story. You have a unique story. You're the only you that exists. And the way you learned music, your upbringing, the bands you played in, the lessons you learned along the way, the trials you ran into, they're unique to you. You're the only one who's done those. And you can say it's just about the music. I just want to stay on the music all you want. But if you actually have the balls to share your story and say, like, I play this music because of this incident, or this musician impacted me so much, I learned their music, whatever it is, that's going to be way more of a step towards growing an audience. And you're not doing it because you're playing small. You're not allowing yourself to be the main character. You don't believe that if you share your story, there are people who will raise their hands and go, I identify with that story, and now I identify with your music, and I love your music, and I'm going to be a champion of your music. You're playing small. You have to believe you're the main character. You have to believe you could be great and could be something bigger than what you are. When I went to music school, it pissed me off so much how much there was this attitude of the music that happened in the 60s was great, and the jazz musicians from the 60s were the greats, and now they're all dead, and you have to try and sound like them, but you're not going to sound like them, but you have to try, and you'll never be as good as them. And there was this real sad, overwhelming thing of like, you're not great, and you won't be great because the greats already happened. And if you believe that, like, you're never going to be the main character. You're just going to like try to be like, well, I'll just take this local gig because that's all I can get. What if you could be better than your heroes? What if you could be better? I'm a piano player. Like, what if you could be better than Bill Evans and Thelonious Monk and Brad Mehldau? And what if you could be better than Corey Henry? What if you could have more of an impact than Elton John or Ben Folds? What if you could play a piano part that's heard by more people than Don't Stop Believin' by Journey or Don't Start Me Now by Queen? You know, what if you could do that? If you don't believe you could, you are going to sabotage yourself, because we don't rise to the level of our goals. We fall, like we don't rise up to our goals. We fall down to them, right? And if you just believe, well, like, I got to take these wedding gigs because I need to make rent, and that's how it is. Like, you're going to be stuck, and you're not going to like ever create the space for you to say, yeah, I could write a song that impacts millions of people. I could go around the country and play piano for people and have people's lives changed about it. If you're amazing at music and you're playing weddings and gigs you don't want to do, you are not only doing yourself a disservice, but you're doing the whole world a disservice. Because trust me, I did weddings for 2 years. I was there, and I played with some people who were monsters. I played with people 10 years older than me who were monsters. And now 5 years later, they're still playing weddings. And they're going to just play Brown Eyed Girl and Sweet Caroline and Don't Stop Believing till they die. And they're going to do a good job at weddings, but it's like, there are people who are hungry to hear music at such a high level that are never going to really get to hear them because they're just doing it at a wedding where nobody really knows what's going on. When I first rehearsed with Sneezy, I'll never forget this, played the rehearsal and Brett looked at me and said, "You're too good to be playing Brown Eyed Girl." And that was something I knew for myself and I believed in myself, but the community I was part of didn't really want to create the space for me to say that. When I said that to other musicians, they choked up and they said, well, but we're not the main characters. We're small. We're just supposed to play. We got to be middle-class musicians. We got to make rent. We got to play these gigs. We can't try and do that. And I met people who were believing they had a message that could be shared on a big stage. So they shared it on a big stage. And I said, yes, this is what I want. I'm going to join you guys. So it's not about like getting the right strategy. It's not about like practicing more or like whatever, meeting the right industry person. It's just about putting yourself out there. And there's so many ways to do it. You can put yourself out there by just getting in the van and going somewhere and making music. Like go to another city and just start playing music for people. You can book a gig. That's probably a wise decision, but you could also just go to a city and go to where music's happening and just start talking to people and meet people. We have these glorious things called cell phones. You can record a video of you playing music, talking about music. You could record a little clip of your gig and post it online. And it's crazy to me how people like don't get that they're afraid to just go nuts posting. I looked the other day, I've posted almost 1,500 posts on Instagram and over 1,000 videos on YouTube. And I'm not like hyper famous, obviously. Most of them haven't done well, but my understanding of what content connects with people and how to make content that helps people and what the point of it is and why to do it and how to believe in myself as the main character being on camera has gone up exponentially. And sometimes when I talk to people, I'm shocked at how little of understanding they have. But it makes sense. It's like, oh, you don't understand any of this because you're too afraid to put yourself out there and do it. And turn on your camera and just talk about music, or turn on your camera and play. I've said that a couple times, but just trying to drive it home that you're going to be stuck at whatever belief system you have around the amount of success you can have. You're going to be stuck there. And so if you are just saying yes to gigs you don't want to do because you're worried about money, you are going to constantly build a life where you have to say yes to gigs you don't want to do because you have to be worried about money. If you took a leap of faith, if the next time a gig came in that you really didn't want to do, if you said no to that gig, you're rewriting your story. And now here's the thing, say no to the gig and then like figure out, okay, how many hours was I going to spend on that gig? What could I spend those hours on instead that would be better? Like truly, what if it was a 5-hour commitment that you said no to, and then you spent 5 hours to write a song or write multiple songs, because that's actually possible, but spent 5 hours to write a song. What if that song became something that you put on an album that you sold for $20? And if that was a $200 gig, you only need to sell 10 albums to make $200. You see what I'm saying? Like, if you're being the sideman in everyone else's gigs and doing gigs you don't want to do, if you're not believing you really have what it takes to change the world with your music, that your message is worth putting out there, you're just going to be stuck in the same position you're in forever. So take it from a guy who took the leap of faith, who even while I was stuck playing local gigs and felt really stuck, I was committed to making content. I was committed to writing music. I basically took the highest paying gigs I could so that I only had to gig 1 to 3 days a week. And then on my off time, I was nuts about making content. Like I said, I made 1,500 posts on Instagram. I was just like, okay, how can I make posts? Go, 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 go. How can I learn to do this faster? How can I make this more interesting? And, I would say like the biggest thing I've learned is that turnaround time is a huge step one. And like people don't make content because they don't know how to, you're not making content because you don't know how to have an idea quickly and then generate the idea and post it right away. And if you can up your turnaround time there, you're already separating yourself from the pack, saying someone, I intentionally create. I make stuff that's worth sharing every day. Next phase is then to like really understand how to capture attention and how to tell a story and curate, which is truthfully the phase I'm in right now. But that phase is such a big breakthrough. And if you can learn to say, no, when I'm going to value my time way more, and like, just because somebody offers me a $200 gig, my time might be worth more than $200. What if your time is worth more than $200 and you figure out how to create something that could create infinite money for you? I'm going in the studio this Friday. We're recording 10 songs. I don't know what's going to happen, but I know I believe in these songs a lot. I have a lot more songs we're going to do, and we'll see what happens when we put them out there. Like, what if we change the world with these songs? What if one of these songs gets 100,000 streams? That's $300 on Spotify right there. Like, that's way better than a dumb $200 gig, right? And musicians, it's so funny because you might be like, well, like Spotify should pay more. Who gives a fuck? Spotify should pay more, or it shouldn't pay more. It pays what it pays. Your dumb $200 gig is paying $200 no matter what. What if you had a song that generated 100,000 streams a month for 10 years? And you got $300 a month just to exist, just because you created something and you put it out there and people went, I like that and I want to listen to it. And like, what if it's even dumber than that? What if you just got lucky and a song got put on a playlist? And it's like, maybe not even so much that like all these people are listening to it, but it's getting these streams. I'll tell you, I have this song that's on a playlist that I wrote 10 years ago. I wrote the song more than 10 years ago. I recorded the song 8 years ago with an old band, and it's on a playlist where it gets probably 5,000 to 6,000 streams a month. And so that turns into $15 a month for me. And like, yeah, I get it. That's not a lot of money, but it does inspire me. It's like, wow, I could just write and record a lot more songs. And what if I had 10 songs making me $15 a month, or 100 songs making me $15 a month? And the law of big numbers comes into play. The more I do that, the more potential I have a song that'll make me more than $15 a month. What if you had a song that through streaming was making you $100 a month? Then all of a sudden, when somebody offers you a $100 gig, you're going to look at it a lot different. It's like, wait, I have to load my keyboard into my car, drive 30 minutes, set up, sit around for an hour, play for 2 hours, tear down for another half hour, drive another 30 minutes in my car to make $100. Or I could sit at home and do nothing and make $100. Or I could just value my time and write another song that could make me another $100. That's some food for thought, isn't it? Ain't it, y'all? Believe you're the main character and put yourself out there like you're the main character. Be willing to be looked at like a fool. Because here's the thing. People who aren't main characters in their lives will not like you for becoming a main character. Because when you say, I'm the main character, here's my story, I'm putting it out there, people who haven't chosen themselves will use you as their whipping post for why they're not. It's like, oh, well, he's just being cringe. He looks embarrassing. He's like, why is he making that? That's so dumb. It's because they're afraid to be the main character in their lives. So be willing to be the main character, which means say no to stuff that's not working for you and say yes to yourself. And focus on building something that can actually have an impact on people in the future, and you'll be amazed at what happened. Thanks so much for watching. If you're struggling to give yourself permission to make something messy, check out the link in my bio. I've got a creative permission slip, which will tell you exactly how you can go from feeling scared that what you're making is going to be dumb to realizing that the most freeing thing you can do is just create. So click the link in my bio, and I'll send that right to you today. Thank you so much. Love you. Bye.